Welcome to Game Club, the podcast that's like a book club where we play great games. I'm your Big Daddy Dan.
I'm not a daddy, Catherine.
I'm a slightly smaller daddy, Charles.
And this week we played Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. Charles, do you want to give us a brief overview of Dream Daddy?
I very much do. So, as the name does suggest, you are a daddy. And I mean that in the literal sense. You have a daughter, and you've recently, apparently, moved to a new town. There's a bit of debate. Frankly, I think you've moved areas within the town because your daughter's still going to the same school. Catherine and I were debating this hotly before the podcast started. So you're a daddy, you have a daughter, you've moved to a cul-de-sac, a new house, and within this cul-de-sac, there are multiple dads. You meet a bunch of them at the start at a barbecue, and before then, while you're moving around town, going to the park, etc., etc., you meet all these dads, and then you hook up with them on a... Well, you don't.
Well, I was about to say, how are we defining hooking up?
Well, exactly. So there's this thing called Dadbook. After you meet all the dads, you're opened up to Dadbook, where you meet dads like Facebook, but just for dads. And you go hang out with them, and you go on semi dates with them, but also just hanging out. And sometimes it leads to romance. The game has a whole bunch of mini games, side quests, and then a whole bunch of multiple endings, depending on how the quests, how your dates go, and which dates you choose to go on. And that is Dream Daddy.
Yeah, so those of you who haven't played along with us, Dream Daddy has sort of cartoonish art that's quite lovely, and it's essentially a lot of reading and text boxes where it's sort of almost like a choose-your-own adventure. But we'll get more into the nitty-gritty details and dad jokes after some Nerd Week. So this game of the week on Game Club, as we mentioned at the top of the show, is Dream Daddy, the dad dating simulator from the Game Grumps team, which you may know from their YouTube channel. They've got a lot of videos out there. Eager Raptor, Danny Sexbang, the whole crew.
Of course.
Have you guys come across Game Grumps before?
Nope, never heard of it.
I had heard of them, but hadn't watched all their stuff or anything.
Yeah, I came across them through Eager Raptor's videos called Sequelitis, where he talks about sort of the merits of Mega Man and how Mega Man X evolved on the formula, or how Majora's Mask wasn't a great Legend of Zelda game, and sort of his game analysis on there. And of course, they do lots of Let's Plays and things like that as well. And I became a fan of the band Ninja Sex Party, which their lead singer is also part of Game Grumps. But this game was recommended by our very own Catherine. What drew you to this game, Catherine?
Well, so I started seeing posts on Facebook about it and read the description, a dad dating simulator where you're a dad dating other dads, and was like, and I'm in.
I mean, the term daddy has always been a favorite of yours as well. So I feel like that was a winner. Yeah.
Yep. Jeez.
Getting personal.
Yeah. But no, honestly, I just saw it and was like, that is genius. I want to play this immediately. And then it kind of has ended up working out really well in the sense of it has become a legit phenomenon. It is the number one game on Steam at the moment.
Is it? No.
Yep. It is 100%. It's the number one game on Steam.
Right.
And it is, so I'm on a bunch of meme pages, a few of which are kind of like wholesome memes and things like that. It is all over those pages that are not gaming specific. So screenshots of nice things when the dad makes a nice cake for his daughter and stuff, and it's legit reached a level that a small indie game does not normally come to. Yeah, so I'm really glad that my choice was validated, because it would have been really lame otherwise.
Yeah, it's crazy that the two sort of most popular games on Steam are almost on opposite ends of the spectrum. We've got PUBG on one end, which is a semi-realistic shooting game, battle royale style, and then on the other end we've got essentially a point and click or a dialogue adventure, where you're a dad and you got to take care of your daughter Amanda Panda, and maybe go on some dates with some daddies if that's what you're keen for. And spoiler, it is what you're keen for.
It is super what you're keen for.
The hint is the character creation. You very quickly work out that is what you're keen for. So it was great.
Yeah. So I mean, shall we talk about how you guys felt playing it?
Yeah. So it started off with character creation. You get to choose what kind of daddy you're going to make, whether it be a kind of buff daddy or a rotund daddy or, kind of small and muscly. So I went with kind of small and weedy because that's, it's more true to life. And I was able to wear glasses and I was able to wear this really nice kind of pink and purple cat shirt. And I was looking for something a little less flamboyant to wear. It did not exist. Wrong game. So it definitely goes all out and lets you know kind of what it's about from the start through the character creation. And then you jump in. But interestingly, the whole theme was quite subtle, I guess, is how I describe it. So you jump in and the story is really about you and your daughter. Moving to this new town and her struggles at school and with her friends and you supporting her and then having a bit of a social life on the side.
Now, I want to jump in here because we talked about this at the top of the show. I'm in the camp that it's not necessarily new town. It's like it's on the other side of town, maybe.
Right? So you're on my side. You're on Team Charles.
She's still going to the same school. I just don't know that it's
that important.
Same school, Catherine. Same school.
Sure. Okay, fine. It's the same town. I do not care enough.
Oh, yes. Eat your words.
Yeah. Also, the American schools and American suburbs and towns are all very weird. But so you moved to Maple Bay, isn't it? I think it's got a bit of Canadian flavor to it.
Sounds about right.
And yeah, as you said, the main focus does seem to be looking after your daughter, which, when you think about it for a moment, of course, makes sense. Because as a daddy, your priority should be your daughter, making sure she's doing well at school. She's going to go off to college next year. But you get the opportunity to occasionally go on dates. Although I was really unclear on what my daddy did as a profession.
Right.
I
want to talk about that a little later on.
And also I think a big part of it that I really liked was that, the focus was on your daughter and your family, and also that you got a little hint of backstory that your character had a partner that had passed away, and how that affected Amanda, your daughter, and just basically then the challenges of jumping back into the dating pool, which again it wasn't a huge part of the story, but it was just enough. It was part of what made the game so kind of the character so beautifully drawn, I thought.
And the art in this game is really good.
Yeah, the art's nice. It's all kind of hand-drawn artwork and all the different areas you can go to, et cetera, et cetera. But jumping into the dating pool was an interesting one. So the vibe I got from it was that it's not even really jumping into the dating pool. You're kind of just meeting these people and socializing, kind of coming out of your shell a little and actually hanging out with people. Because, I mean, they're not specifically dates. You're going and playing mini golf with a guy and his younger daughter, and maybe it progresses from there. And I guess as you go on more dates, it gets more date-like. But it's really just socializing, and that was kind of wholesome and lovely.
It is. It is also interesting, though, in terms of not to get on my high horse, but reverse the genders, or not even reverse the genders, but say that it was a single woman whose husband had passed away, and then there were all these attractive dads around that you were hanging out with. The assumption will be maybe we're hanging out as friends, but look, hopefully it will turn into something more. And I think in many ways it kind of playing it as a gay or bi dad, it's kind of never specified, although he can, the partner that passed away can be a man or a woman, that wants to, meet other dads and make friends, but also might like to, go out on a date with them, is legitimately, I think it speaks to how we assume that guys hanging out with guys is always friendship. And of course, sometimes it's dates.
Yeah. I agree to up to a point, and especially if it was in a game like this, especially if it's called a dating simulator, and I'm gonna go join this girl at a softball match. I don't know. I still probably wouldn't consider that a date. I spent a lot of time with my buddy Craig, and those. Well, we should talk about the dads. We should talk about the dads.
Let's get into the dads.
Yeah.
So we got Matt Seller, the cool dad. Yep. He's the barista, the cool barista guy who's into music, used to be in a band. We got Joseph Christensen, who's a cool
It's a
youth
subtle
Really?
dad.
They really went hard. And his kids were like Christy and Chris and like just, they were not subtle.
We got Brian Harding, the rival dad and the great outdoorsman.
Loved the relationship between you and Brian and the competitiveness. And he's just so good at everything. Jerk.
There was Hugo Vega, who's the teacher dad.
Yeah, he was pretty dreamy. Hey, Catherine, who was your favorite daddy?
It was Hugo. Well, no.
Was it Hugo?
So it depends. Are we talking the daddy I want to date or the daddy that I ended up
The daddy
with?
you want to be.
That's it.
Well, the daddy I want to be is obviously goth daddy, so...
So the goth daddy is
There you go.
Damien Bloodmarch, who dresses like a Victorian-era vampire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what he does.
And then there was Craig Khan, I think. And he's sort of the fitness daddy. I think that's... Oh, and there was the last guy who I never
Robert?
really spoke too much.
Robert. Yeah.
Robert.
Bad daddy.
The naughty daddy. Yeah.
Right,
Daddy.
the bad daddy. So we'll start with Robert. So my interactions with Robert were very slim. Instantly, I'm like, I don't like this guy. Like, he just rubs me the wrong way because I'm not out there for a bad boy because I'm a man. I don't want a bad boy. That doesn't
So
appeal to me at all.
I got the achievement for sleeping with Robert the first night I met him.
Nice.
Like, it popped
Catherine.
up and I was like, oh, so you're not meant to do that, huh?
The second he invited me into his home, it's like, no, that's not who I am, Robert. That's not what I'm about. I'm here for
Yeah,
love.
just because we bonded over sports.
My daddy hadn't been laid in a while.
Well, that's fair. Okay, your daddy had priorities. You needed to make it work. Good for you. You did you. Okay.
Yeah. So Robert's an interesting one. I kind of want to flag that we're talking about spoilers a little bit here now. So Robert has a bad ending and a good ending. I actually didn't get to the good ending. I tried to go on some dates with Robert because obviously we'd had a connection when we met at the bar.
That's what you want to call it?
I messaged him on Dadbook and he just didn't reply.
I love it. I love that a dating game actually has an option where it's you just being like stood up and just hardballed.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, this feels a lot like real life.
just
You watch
brutal.
a sports
Thanks,
game
dating
with him.
game.
You drink, you go home with him on the first night, and then just nothing from
nothing,
Dadbook.
exactly. And then the second time, I messaged him, and you only get 3 dates. I messaged him on Dadbook, and he didn't reply for a while. I cleaned the house, and then and then he sent me a message at like 3 a.m. saying like, "You up?" And you had the option to go over to his house or
emoji.
not.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Just a booty call. Just a
And
3
I said
a.m.
no.
booty call.
I said no. I was like, my dad is better than this.
I'm glad you stood
He's
up for
been
yourself.
rejected enough.
He's had a hard enough
something
time.
more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
did look up the endings for Robert and also Joseph. So this is where spoilers come in if you're interested. But so Robert's ending is actually him saying like that he's not ready to date right now, that he needs to work on himself a lot more. Like, this is if you've actually connected with him, and there are a couple of other interactions you could have with him in on other dad's dates where he sometimes turned up. And it was him saying, yeah, I'm not in a good place and you seem great, but like I actually need to work on my shit a bit, which I thought was really interesting. And then Joseph, who was the kind of the Christian dad.
Yeah, I was really interested to know where that would go, because I went on the first date with him, which is like his wife's around and it's weird and you're baking cookies and his kids are everywhere. Where does that go?
So it's similar to Robert's in terms of it's him basically saying that he has to work through things properly. Like there's no... I think it's interesting in that, especially with gaming, we're kind of taught that, you can always win. And the winning options for Robert are him working on himself, and with Joseph, it's him staying with Mary and him kind of working on his stuff with her, and may or may not stay with her. And I thought that was a really bold choice for the game to make, and the right choice, but it also irked me because I wanted to win. So,
So you're the problem, is what I'm hearing.
What? Sorry.
So you're the problem.
I am the problem.
With games going like, oh yeah, do the right combination, enter the Konami code, and you get all the sex.
Yeah, you get all of the winning. Yep.
Yeah.
I was really interested in how the game ended, so I picked Hugo. Hugo was the daddy that I was most interested in because he's smart, he's dreamy.
He's got a little bow tie.
He's a little bow tie. He's a teacher.
I ended
everything.
up with Hugo, so
Yep. But interestingly, Catherine and my Hugo endings were a little different. So the whole gay thing is new to me in that I haven't played a gay dating game before because, frankly, they might not really exist. There's got to be some out there, but certainly nothing in the mainstream.
A dating sim before?
No, I haven't. Oh, maybe when I was 13 and I thought I was going to see some digital boobs.
Are we calling those dating sims? Or?
Yeah, those were different. So no, I hadn't played a dating sim before. This was new to me, and I was really making myself quite vulnerable. It was late at night. I drank quite a lot of wine to get myself in the mood of being a daddy with other daddies. And look, Hugo and I went to a wrestling match. We had a lovely night together. It ended quite saucily, and then the next day, we're at a party that I'm throwing for my daughter, and Hugo's there, and I'm like, okay, I've won. That's the game. I romanced my daddy. I slept with him. So there's an option, and it's you go to hold Hugo's hand because the romance has won. And he goes, oh, I don't really see you like that. I just see you as a friend. And that was just savage. And I was wounded. I was really shut down. I was emotionally invested. I was ready. And it was just the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So that was my daddy that I took all the way. Never again. I won't be burned again.
So it's similar to the Robert experience for me.
Yep. So this game is really interesting. I did not see it coming. That was probably the best bit. It was that it was quite shocking. I'm like, wow, I just got friend zoned in a dating game. Okay, fine. That's how that's going to be.
Yeah, and then you burned your computer.
Yeah, clearly because I did rubbish on the dates.
I got
that's okay. We'll get into that a little later.
We didn't really mention that at the end of each date you get a date ranking, and it's that sort of game style ranking where S is the best, and then it's A, B, C. I assume there's lower than that. I never
there's
saw
C
lower
and
than an A.
D's, yeah.
I got a C once. Oh. Yep. That's why holding hands didn't work.
Ooh.
I went on a date with Matt.
What did you do?
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll get into the mini game soon.
Catherine?
Yeah, go down. Hit us.
I went on a date with Matt, the cool dad. We went to a concert, and it was really, really interesting how, some of the choices you make obviously make the date better or worse depending on how you interact. But some of the stuff that comes out is stuff you don't really see handled at all or even well in games. Like Matt talks to you and says like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, hey, Matt. Yeah, it's the Matt guy. He's so cool. Everyone loves him. He's everyone's best friend. But then he sort of confides in you that he actually gets really anxious around people and gets really worried about what to say. And that it's, hey, it's really cool to hang out with you because you and him seem to talk so naturally together. And it was just sort of an angle of anxiety or fear of social situations that I hadn't seen handled in games very subtly before. And I thought that was a really cool thing by the writers.
Yeah, the characters were a little, not, overly, but they were a little complex and were their own kind of people, and consistency, I guess. So is what they had within their characters. That was impressive. Yeah.
I read...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I read an interview with the creators where they actually explained why you couldn't get the quote-unquote good endings for Robert and Joseph, where they said that a lot of dating sims make your feelings paramount. So, like, you can break up a relationship, or, like, it's all about you and how well someone else fits with you, whereas what they tried to do was be like, everyone you're dating has their own thoughts and feelings and wants and desires. So, you do have to consider how well you're matched, but also that, for someone, their kids might be the priority at the moment.
I ended up going on the full 3 dates with my boy Craig.
Your boy Craig, which is such a fascinating choice. Instantly I saw Craig. I'm like, Craig is not for me. I will never go out with Craig. He's sporty, he's fit, and maybe that's what appeals to you, Dan. Interesting.
Yeah, I think, not even just that, but I think as well, it was like, oh, hey, he's my friend. Well, you you old college buddies. He calls you bro a lot, which is not really my jam, but I guess that's sort of, he hasn't grown out of that, but he's grown out of everything else. He's no longer keg stand Craig. He's getting fit. He's teaching his twins, his daughters, softball games and stuff, and all the dates are sort of fitness related to begin with. So it's like, oh, you go to the gym together, or oh, you go hiking together. And I thought that was kind of cool. And it also has that extra layer where you find out that sort of at the end of the second date, he's just really highly strung because he's pulling himself at 100 angles for his baby, for his two daughters, and putting them first in everything. He never gets any time for himself. And he's worried that if he just relaxes, he'll go back into the pizza eating beer slob that he used to be. And it was like a lovely, vulnerable moment. And of course, he's got the best abs and a great butt. So that was no brainer.
Yep, had your priorities. Good to see. Yeah, that's fine.
Specifically, a choice that was like, look at Craig's butt or don't look at Craig's butt. And I was just like, that's not even a choice.
But
so did he have a wife with kids, with these kids, or was he a single dad by this stage?
They were separated.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So it was only the Christensen guy that was a little confused.
It had the wife, yeah. I guess what I thought was great is like, one, there was a huge amount of diversity in terms of not only the dads you could date, but the dads you could create yourself as. And I just found it really interesting. So one of the things for me was that I was so fascinated by how you guys would react to this game, because obviously it's a game where men are sexualized and you're a man. So there's kind of two aspects that, and a gay man that aren't things that you traditionally see in video games. And it reminded me of how I felt playing God of War 1, I think, when I started playing, and there's this sex scene where you pretty much have to move the controller at the right time and press the right button, and it's kind of all slightly off screen, but like it's like two goddess kind of women things. So it's making you control the game having a threesome. And I didn't even think twice about that moment because I'm so used to games being from...
Because you want to win, obviously.
Yeah, well, that too, but...
Yep.
You wanted the good ending.
Yeah,
the happy ending, if you will.
Yeah. But I'm so used to playing games from a straight male perspective. And it's why there were, like, when you play Mass Effect and there's a lot more choice, and some of the Dragon Age games that had more choice in terms of who you could date and be with, it's like, well, that's actually really... If there's going to be a romance option, which obviously there doesn't have to be in every game, I want it to be the option of me, or I want there to be a variety of options, not just you can only romance the girl because you're the boy. Like, that doesn't really interest me.
Oh, yeah. I like the idea as well of it shouldn't just be you should be able to romance anyone, because what this game does really well, and some of the Mass Effect games tackle, and as you said, Dragon Age, they say, well, no, thank you for, it's very flattering, but I'm not interested in you because you're not my type, for example. Yeah. I know the latest Dragon Age game, I think, had that where one of the, I think like the elf was a lesbian. She's like, oh, you romance option, and then she's like, oh yeah, no, that's not my jam. Yeah. And this game delves deeper into that, as you were saying, where it takes their circumstances and their wants and their hierarchy of needs into account when it gives you that kind of end result.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting for a dating game, because I was looking at a few other dating games out there. Like I looked up, top 10 dating games, et cetera. And from the artwork that is on the dating games, you get the gist that choice and that kind of intrinsic feeling and ability of rejection doesn't exist within anything else that's out there, which a lot of it just looks like essentially romancing and sleeping with as many women as you kind of can. It was really clever and different and unique, I guess, in the way it handled dating.
Many puns. So many puns.
Yeah, so the writing was the thing that was my favorite. So, the romance aside, I mean, that was part of the game, and it's what you were there. It's the point of the game, but it's not exactly what I enjoyed. It was the writing and the humor and that I really connected with. And I think that's why I was so okay with playing the game and able to get into it and put myself in the shoes of this daddy, because the writing was so clever that it really appealed to me and relaxed you and made you kind of get involved with it. You would have appreciated that, I'm sure, Catherine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, I think I'm pretty used to playing from a male perspective, and so I was fine with that, and then I was super fine with, you know, trying to hit on attractive daddies. But the writing, it was just like your daughter's struggle of going away to college and her friends kind of drifting away from her, and that stuff was, I mean, as you say, there's the big barbecue at the end, and you know, the highlight of it or the finale of it was your daughter saying what a good dad you were. It wasn't anything to do with the romance story.
Yep, that was just like a little aside at the end there, which
Yeah.
was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I loved
looking at the
it.
achievements, I think there's a way to mess that up, like if you're too overbearing or if you're a shitty daddy.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
For
Be better
me,
at
I
parenting.
found I wasn't able to be harsh enough as a dad,
You're
which
a
was
very
interesting.
disciplined dad, aren't you?
Well, I mean, it's a little hard to be overly disciplined with an 18-month-old. No, that is
Sure.
not how you eat your broccoli.
I mean, you've taught classes with kids, and you're very
correct.
strict.
Yeah. So I've run a Minecraft class before, and the children both feared, respected, and loved me, and I ruled with an iron fist. And I had the chair of shame, and if they misbehaved, they would go out to the chair of shame, and all the other kids would chant chair of shame, and they would sit there until I had deemed that they had paid out their punishment. So yes, I'm quite strict with the way that I handle children, and for me, it was like, so there's a lot of dialogue in the game, and at one point, your daughter's going out to a party, but I just found out through Hugo that she had some assignments that she hadn't handed in, and I'm there thinking, and you couldn't say no to her going to the party, and I'm there thinking, if my daughter had assignments that she hadn't handed in at school and she thought she was going out to a party, I would very quickly re-educate her. So it would have been nice for a few more options. I think the writing, while really complex and nice and had its really humorous moments and its heart-touching moments, heartwarming moments. There was touching of hearts. Yep. It would have been nice to also have been a bit more strict. Or a different kind of dad,
So
as
you
opposed
wanted
to
a
perfect
meaner
dad.
daddy.
Correct. I wanted my daddy to be mean.
I'm on board with Charles in this one. I actually had some bugs in the game, so I would like load a save and try again. There was one where I was on a date with Craig, and we ran into the Chris twins, the creepy Children of the Corn twins.
That was excellent. They were so great.
And we stopped. They were cutting up his Craig's baby's doll or something.
Oh, jeez.
And his stuffed animal, and we rescued it and stuff. And then I got this glitch where they were on the screen still blinking. These art things aren't just static, like they blink and react occasionally. For the rest of that date, when I went home and chatted to my daughter, and she was like crying in her room or something, and like these blinking, like wide-eyed Children of the Corn twins are staring at me. I was like, I have to get rid of this. I took a couple of screenshots. But I went back. I did a couple of loads, tried different dialogue options occasionally, and so you get a feel for like, oh, okay, this one, you'd get it and you'd hear that bring noise, like that was the right answer, and you'd get all the eggplant emojis fly out.
I love the eggplant emojis, because I only found out like a month or two ago that eggplant emoji meant penis.
That is adorable.
I know,
How
right?
have you been on the
Did you
internet?
learn what a peach is? Did you learn what the peach means?
Is it a butt?
It's a
Yeah.
I think it's a butt.
Peach
yeah,
is a
it's a butt. Well, I haven't Tindered, so I don't know these emoji games.
It's just internet, Charles. It's not Tinder.
It's just on that note, my favorite dad tip, I just want to quickly slide into dad tips. So the humor, the writing, there was a lot of humor in the writing, from the dads to the children, to the scenarios that you're in, to the mini games that you play. And another little humorous aside is dad tips in the loading screens. And they're kind of things that, the wisdoms that dad gives. And my favorite was that bookmarks could be saved to the desktop. And I just thought that was so wonderful, because that really connected with me on a
My
dad
favorite
level.
was never eat egg sandwiches from service stations. I'm like, that's a good tip. That's a good dad tip.
So wise. And one of them was like, the bolts on a tire, make sure you tighten them in a starfish, like in a star manner. Like, just the dad tips were excellent.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite dad tip, Dan?
Use your hips when throwing.
It's perfect.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep.
Wonderful. So yeah, it was a dad game. It was really a dad game, and there was some dating in there. and that's awesome.
I've actually just pulled up a list of all. Well, I don't know if this is all, but 92 of the dad tips.
Oh, I did not see anywhere close to 92. A lot of replayability.
Kid Charlemagne is the greatest guitar solo ever recorded. I don't even know what that is.
It's a dad thing, is what it is. Classic dad fact.
I think so. For me, obviously, I loved the game. I loved it for the writing and the diversity and kind of the messages and all of that. The game aspect. So there were two things that really irked me. One was that the mini games felt very unpolished.
They were tacked on, weren't they?
Yeah, they were very much tacked on. And I appreciated that they were there, and that I didn't, want the entire game to be a game, but just they felt like a different game compared to how polished the rest of it was. The other was that because I read fairly fast, I just that sound, because like the characters would all kind of make sounds that just represented them. Yeah. It was really annoying because I'd be spacebarring through as soon as I'd read something. It was just constant. And I was like, I mean, obviously there was an option to turn off sound completely, but sometimes I did want, music and other aspects of it.
The music was good.
Yeah. So I think it was just like there were little things that basically it not being polished enough. And I know kind of when the game was announced, it had a release date and they actually ended up pushing it back because they were still working on bugs. So
yeah, that was an interesting choice. A lot of people were slightly outraged about that.
The haunted children bug.
Maybe before then, haunted children were everywhere.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that was I'm definitely willing to forgive the game those things, but there were definitely things where I hope that there's a patch that kind of especially updates the mini games a little bit.
Yeah, and the biggest
adds more dates.
Yeah, that could be a thing. I mean, I think they're enough. They're enough. Like, you only want to date so many dads before you've had your dad fix. The biggest thing, I guess, for this game is that it's tackling an area that hasn't really been touched with Western games before, especially in the mainstream, and that's the fact that gay people go on dates and that gay people maybe want to play games, and that those two things are relevant. So there was a little bit of criticism that I read in a couple of reviews that it doesn't really touch on gay culture, but I think they've done that quite purposefully, in that sometimes people are gay and just live a suburban life, and this game kind of recognizes that, and that's kind of nice.
And it's probably quite hard. It's a quite hard line to walk when, to someone, it's like, oh yeah, that's an accurate representation of my culture. But then to maybe just the suburban daddy is like, well, that's stereotyping. Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. I think they've purposely steered away and just gone like, here's, middle of the road, just everyday stuff. Let's not try and push it in one way or the other, apart from Rival Dad, curse him, and his hiking ways. That mini game was great. The little Pokemon battle one before you get into the real dates.
So clever. Where you're battling the children. I loved it. I have often talked about dressing my child up in a Pokemon outfit and battling against other children also dressed in Pokemon outfits. So that definitely connected with me on a dad level.
On a dad level. That's cool. So all in all, pretty good game. The writing, solid. Jokes, solid. As you said, there's a couple of little things that could use tightening, but all in all, I mean, this is a really fun experience. And from what you were saying earlier in the show, Catherine, has become quite popular on sort of non-gaming things. I think this could be a really interesting entry for people to sort of dip their toe in, because it is light on the actual gameplay.
There's a lot of kind of queer groups and things like that, especially on Tumblr, where I've seen reactions to Dream Daddy that are people going like, so I've had no interest in gaming up until now, but I will definitely play this game. And I think, any game that crosses over in that way can be such a powerful reason for people to get into something. And I just think it's a lovely, really sweet, surprisingly wholesome game. I mean, it would be interesting to look at what the age rating is, because there were some scenes where it was described, like, he roughly pushes you against the wall and things like that.
Was that Robert? It was probably
Robert.
It's Robert.
Before he stopped replying to my texts.
Yeah, Hugo was all romantic. Yeah.
But, I kind of go, well, would I feel comfortable a 15-year-old playing this game? Definitely. Would I feel comfortable a 12-year-old? It's probably up to the parents. But then if it was a queer 12-year-old, that might be a really formative experience that's very validating. So I just think I I'm not qualified to make that call, but it is something to be careful of.
That's a parenting call, and those
Yeah.
calls exist for everything that's explicit or violent or et cetera, et cetera. It's a parenting call, and it all depends on the kid and kind of what stage of maturity they're at. So they'll work that out for themselves.
My sister took her super young. I'm not going to say how old she is, but quite young, just above toddler level. Daughter to go see Wonder Woman. And it's like, okay, that's a parenting call. That's she came out of it going like, yeah, Wonder Woman, punching the air and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I've got a mate who took his 4-year-old to go see Star Wars, and it's like, yeah, there's a whole lot of death and whatever, but the kid loved it. So I mean, whatever, go nuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you're a daddy or a mummy and you can make that call yourself, do you reckon they're going to follow it up with like a mummy simulator?
Possibly. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, the lesbian thing has such different connotations. Whether for right or wrong, I mean, it depends. You'd have to be super careful with how you deal with it. But I mean, they've been super careful how they've dealt with this. So maybe would it be as popular? Maybe. There's possibly a whole lot of repressed mummies out there who have ideas of things they'd like to try. Maybe this game would be a little bit of an adventure for them. But I guess we'll just wait and see.
It really tied into the dad persona aspect, which isn't something that is as strong for like, dad jokes and like mum jokes are more often. Well, mums are more often kind of described as the one that isn't any fun and isn't, so it would be literally harder to make it as a game. And also I think they would have to have at least 50% women making it, which my impression of the Game Grumps team is not that they're kind of made up that way. So I think, look, if they never made a sequel, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Or Dream Daddy 2.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dream
sure.
Daddy 2, Extra Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name.
Shall we go into the quiz to see who is the best daddy?
Yeah. Do we game recommendations first or do we quiz?
Let's do game recommendations.
Okay.
I think we all recommend this game in particular. It's a good little fun indie game to play.
I think, and it's different. It's really unique.
Sure.
And I always encourage people to play unique games that are trying new things, and they should be supported for trying new things because then other people try new things. So yes, I do recommend it.
Yeah, we can all do with a bit of different other people's perspectives at all times, everywhere. But this next game I'm going to recommend might be a perspective you hadn't considered. It is a dating sim game. It's called Hatoful Boyfriend, and it's where you have to date pigeons.
Perfect. That sounds like something I've always been looking for. Yeah. Are you a pigeon or are you a human?
I haven't played. No, I think you're a human.
Of course.
So you go to this sort of pigeon school. You're the only human student ever at the St. Pigeonations Institute, a school for talented birds.
Fascinating. Why pigeons? I feel like pigeons are the least sexy bird. Like eagle.
Yeah,
I would fuck an eagle. But
it's
right?
obviously a take on the sort of Japanese game where like you're the new kid at the school and you're trying to date all the ladies.
But they're pigeons.
And but they're all pigeons, and there's the bad pigeon, and there's like the cute, nice bookworm pigeon, and so on. So yeah, you have to go and find love as a sophomore in high school with these pigeons, and obviously it's making fun of all the kind of same tropes and some of the tropes that appear in Dream Daddy, and some of the tropes that they subvert as well. So I think if you liked this, you might dig Hatoful Boyfriend.
May do.
I wanna play
And I mean, yeah, Dream Daddy itself was a parody in a lot of ways of dating games, while at the same time taking itself very seriously in other ways. I think it walked a fantastic line between making fun of them and being a really legitimate one in and of itself. So yeah, pigeons sounds less like that, but that's okay. Catherine, game recommendations?
Like to play it though.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a game recommendation in the sense of, I guess for me, no, like legitimately, I really thought about it and was like, this is so different from any other kind of game I've played that I feel like, I mean, I could pick out dating sims that look interesting, but I haven't played them, so they might not be suitable. I would recommend going and watching some Game Grumps videos, and I know they just started a new podcast because obviously, that's the team that's behind this game. But yeah, my recommendation is go play Dream Daddy because I don't think it's like anything else you've played before.
Very much so. My game recommendation is just another dating sim. So I'm now interested, because I've never played them, to go play another dating sim. I'm going to pick a popular Western one and see how it goes. So HuniePop is the one that I've kind of discovered online, and it looks a bit more of your kind of they're obviously females and more of a sexualized kind of dating game, but it'll be really interesting comparing it to how they handled daddies as opposed to your more traditional one. This is Western though; it's not Japanese, which seemingly most of them are, which says a lot about
Western.
Japanese culture in and of itself that we won't get onto. But this one specifically is a more Western one. So I'm going to go play HuniePop and check it out and kind of see what other dating sims are like. And maybe you should do the same.
Yeah,
sounds great.
Or maybe not. We'll find out next time.
So let's move right on smoothly into the quiz. We'll avoid the pay to win because we're sort of going over time. We'll avoid the pay to win section and go straight into the quiz. So Catherine, you've prepared a daddy quiz.
I have.
For us.
I've prepared a daddy quiz that is a mix of dad facts from the game and dad facts from real life. So I know, insane.
I'm excited.
I
do have some serious.
It's about a date I didn't go on.
Correct.
Should have played it more, Dan.
Damn it, Dan. Damn it.
So, and it will obviously be first come, first served. What are the names of all of the dads?
Oh, Craig, Brian, Robert, Hugo, Damien. Is it Damien? Yep. Geez, I don't know. There's Christian and Craig. How do we compete with this?
There's no Christian.
His last name's Christensen.
Joseph. His name's Joseph.
Okay,
I feel
I'm
like
going to give it to
that.
Charles because he got most of those, and Dan.
I'm going to give it to whoever adjudicates that scoring system better.
Loose, Catherine. Loose start to the quiz.
I thought Dan would start speaking.
That's anarchy.
Yeah.
He was overpowered by my daddy knowledge. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Father's Day was established in France in 1949 through the marketing campaign for which product? A cigarette lighter, a certain luxurious model of car, or a jacket?
I'm going to say jacket.
I'm going to say cigarette lighter.
And Dan wins.
Yes.
It was a cigarette lighter.
That's such an easy option.
Oh, I don't want Dan to win anymore.
You are. All right, here we go.
What was the name of the coffee shop that Matt was the owner of in Dream Daddy?
Oh, it was a wonderful pun, but it was abstract. I haven't got it. Have you got it, Dan?
No, it was some sort of reference to a song or a band or something, wasn't it? It's
like maybe had coffee in the title, maybe didn't. Like plunging. There was some kind of coffee action involved in the title.
Yeah,
it was
like
coffee.
roast?
It was coffee spoon. So no
Coffee
one
spoon.
gets that.
Yeah.
I said it had coffee in the title.
No, I'm not giving that to you. I'm not giving that to you.
Boo.
To avenge the sinking of his father's fleet, the Roman Emperor Caligula refused to eat fish, sacrificed his youngest daughter, attacked the sea itself.
Attack the sea itself.
Yeah.
What was the second one? Oh,
sacrificed
too late.
his youngest daughter.
Attacked the sea itself.
Yeah,
I listened to the Myths and Legends podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
He sent his army to attack, and they showed victory by bringing back seashells, I think.
Yeah.
Sounds like something
they kind
Romans
of
are doing.
went in and started attacking it with their swords and spears.
Good. That's what happens when you drink lead and rule a country.
Yep. Yeah. And you inbreed a lot. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Which Dream Daddy had extensive knowledge of knot tying?
Oh, it'd be Joseph.
Joseph Christensen.
I beat you to that.
Yeah, Charles did. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I reckon it's we both get
because
1.5
you said
points.
last name?
What? Because you said the full name. We've already established I knew the last
I think we both
name.
started talking at the same time. Charles just said
What?
the internet.
No, I did hear Charles first. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your MBN's not looking so good now, is it?
So we've got Charles on 2 and Dan on 2.
How exciting.
Which father helps incubate its young and feeds them with milk once born? A pigeon? That's strange tie-in. A platypus or a python?
I'm going to say platypus.
I'm going to say platypus as well.
You're both wrong. It is a pigeon.
Oh.
I I would have, had I played more Hatoful Boyfriend, I might have known this.
You probably would have. Yeah, it's probably 50% of the game.
Oh, no, do we have a dad off? Do we
No,
have
we
a
still
dad
have more
tie?
questions. I prepared
okay.
extensively.
You prepared
Oh,
extensively.
thank goodness.
Who did the theme song for Dream Daddy?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Christina Aguilera.
Oh my
I'm
god, are you
assuming
kidding?
is it Ninja Sex Party?
I'm just gonna stop you both.
Game Grumps?
No, it's a American artist called Baths. I just thought someone might have looked it up because Charles has been singing it all week, but
I
apparently
have.
not.
Well, Christina Aguilera is American, so
All right.
think about that.
Anyway, we're down to
Not a
the
daddy
final. We're down to the final question. So
this could be
whoever
awkward.
tells me the right answer is the dreamiest daddy.
It's a title I want,
Who-
and I want Catherine to call it me often.
I'm not doing that. I will stop the quiz before I call you that.
Good deal.
Who has no father? Female bees, male ants, or queen termites?
Oh, jeez. I'm going to go with bees.
I'm going to go with ants.
And Daniel is the dreamiest daddy.
Ah, well done, Daniel. You dreamy daddy.
That's right.
That's 2 for 2 now, Dan. 2 in a row. Whew.
Starting
He's
a
on
streak.
fire.
It's gonna go longer than Catherine's.
Yeah,
Mine
well,
went for
he's
what,
hoping.
3?
3.
4, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I still think the last
Cool.
one was stolen from me.
Good daddy quiz.
Good
Yeah,
daddy
thank
quiz.
you.
Good quizzing on daddies. Nice.
I liked
Cool.
the combination. Cool. All right.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. You can tweet to us using the hashtag GameClubCast. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at NFGDan.
I'm at CS McMullen.
I'm at Charles Bryars.
And Charles, can you let us know what's going to be next time on Game Club?
I have no idea what's going to be next on Game Club. Have we chosen a game?
I've written down we're going to be playing
yeah.
FTL Faster Than Light. As,
There you go. I don't
was-
have our file open right now because I minimized it, and then if I reopen it, it stops recording.
All right, we're playing FTL Faster Than Light. It was on our poll
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago. It went up against Papers, Please and Sunless Sea. So we're playing the runner-up or the loser of that vote, but it's still a very popular game. We got a couple of requests for it, so
I'm excited.
that should be fun. You can find that on Steam. I believe there's an iPad version, Catherine?
Yep. there is.
almost definitely.
I already have it, but I will I haven't played it that much, which is great. Works perfectly.
Yeah. Great
If you want
choice,
to go
team.
into the on Facebook, we got a Game Club podcast Facebook group you can join where we chat about the games and share images and discuss it and stuff. We'll put a link to the Humble Store version of FTL, and if you want to use that link, it helps out the podcast and gives credit to us if you want to tip us a little bit as part of that purchase.
Nice.
Great.
Anything else from you guys before we call it there?
No, that's it.
That's all done. Go out and romance some daddies, people.
Yeah.
Enjoy
have a
it.
fun time.
Treat yourself.
Don't date
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert's a mistake.
Thanks for listening to Game Club. I've been your dreamiest daddy, Dan.
I've been your moderately dreamy daddy, Catherine. I feel weird saying that.
I've apparently been your minimal dream daddy, undreamy, if you will. Hugo shot me down, lost the quiz. I'm out. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Farewell.
Oh boy.
Boy.